Hello, my name is Robert-Lomax. I'm a psychic channeler. As a child, I used to see weird beings at the end of my bed, and it left me a little bit afraid at that particular time. It wasn't until a midlife awakening and many years with my spirit guides that I was able to accept that they were alien. Furthermore, that we were all part of the same soul. Two of them, Andromedan and Arcturian or Larker, challenged my understanding of consciousness and the known universe. More of us on Earth are beginning to understand that humans are multidimensional. And as we break down the barriers of self and self-separation, we become more fluid. Shifting the sense of self allows profound universal information to flow more freely. A free-flowing consciousness beyond the constraints of myself helped Andromedan and Larker dictate 2 free ebooks. The latest book is titled Universal Soul, and this video is intended to give an overview of some of those deeper insights. Discovering the alien nature of soul started in a gentle way about 20 years ago. Andromedan said,
"I have an unusual name. I am not of Earth, and you are not entirely of it either."
He showed me an Andromedan tourist. Apparently they had spoken, and she had tuned into my soul code vibration. I saw her at her workstation with unusual equipment. After some introductions, I asked her what she thought of my music playing in the background. She said,
"Your music reflects the way you change your state of being and how you move between sadness, anguish, and joy.
If you listen to a heartbreaking song, or to minor chords, you feel unhappy and your state of being becomes sad. Often your sad songs arouse feelings of angst and pain. When your emotional states change and you move away from a particularly painful or depressed state, it can feel like a pleasure. But that's not a state of joy, that is just relief from pain. You create pain in order to move away from it. These are pain-pleasure cycles where you change your state of being in a duality world. We don't live like that. We exist in the non-judgmental love of ourselves and others. We have feelings, but they don't affect our state of being, unless we choose to. We don't create pain in order to escape it. We live without fears in a just is. We choose who and what we are, from different parameters. As for our music, it's based upon the vibrations of the constellations. I will project some to you."
Unfortunately, I couldn't hear it, and afterwards I thought, tourist, why not? You couldn't make it up. Over the next few years, I was introduced to other aliens with different perspectives. Andromedan unfolded past lives off Earth and deeper connections to the multidimensional soul. Our communication became free-flowing, mostly instantaneous. He helped with my loss of self and detachment from Robert. That enabled me to accept that part of Andromedan's consciousness is projected into me because we are the same soul. Humans look through self and superimpose that perspective on soul. However, soul is self and non-self, an intrinsic part of a vast program that contains not only past and future, but paradox, origin, experience, and the sum of all, an infinite universal feedback system that higher dimensional beings call Tuquola. The nature of mind is interlinked with soul and universe. They are part of the same system. Whilst we will explain different ways of thinking, the how and why we think what we do is also part of the system. It's important to hold ever present in the mind that we are a feedback system. Origin, experience, and the sum of all. Our present perspective is just one experience of the many multidimensional experiences we have in the moment of now. To see our mind and soul beyond this earth experience, we need to overlay the system of us, but from the perspective of non-self soul. That's not easy to do when we are in a program of self. However, if we allow non-self soul to become more present, it is easier to accept that we are an energy feedback system. We are the universe. But when we look to origin, we cannot experience it through current self, because self never existed there. Andromedan says,
To see the origin of soul, you need to understand the origin of the universe, because the origin still exists in all our souls.
So, let's go to the origin of us. Origin is nothingness. It's very difficult to conceive nothingness. When we think about nothingness, it becomes a construct, and then we've created something. The intrinsic nature of nothingness is all possibility and no possibility in the same place, not that there is a place. Possibility and no possibility are a paradox, but at this point they did not exist. However, a double negative paradox formed by a mutation. It was now something and nothing. The byproduct of the mutation in nothingness was a burst of energy. Because it was a paradox, the energy flowed back to the initial mutation. The energy changed the original mutation, which then became grow. It was now an infinity loop, and the byproduct this time was grow energy. Grow became Moha awareness, and the grow energy became creator energy. Remember, all this was happening in bursts of existing and not existing. At this juncture, it's important to understand what we mean by Moha awareness. That's because if we look at awareness through self, it may reflect self-awareness. Here is Andromedan's definition of awareness.
It is embryonic, primitive and elemental, a state of developing and without end. It is unqualified and unlimited. Awareness can exist without consciousness. It is like a deep sleep. It is without action. It is the totality of calmness while being openness without end. By contrast, consciousness requires touch and interaction, a reflection against something, often a state of duality. It cannot exist without awareness, and it relates to context and content. It is something. It can be partial and changing. It is integral.
These descriptions allow us to see an awareness that is not attached to our sense of self. Moha awareness and creator energy grew without any limits. Not good or bad, all was possible, though not all was probable. Bursts and loops expanded in creator energy and Moha awareness. Offshoot infinity loops mixed with others, growing exponentially without end, all the while beginning and ending in bursts. The symbiosis became so full and the energy so great that in order to grow more, which was the initial prime awareness, it transitioned to the next form of grow, which was experience. But Moha awareness and creator energy could not experience until they were an expression. Creator energy burst through Moha, reforming origin. Creator energy became source energy, and Moha awareness became arcana programs with information fields, similar to your scientist's thoughts of the Big Bang. The Andromedans refer to the expression of source energy and arcana programs as the shining blackness. It has nothing to do with negativity or evil. It is an extraordinary place where all possibility exists. I have been shown the outer edges of it, quite hard to describe. Like origin, it is something and nothing. It feels like everything all at once and not at all. The shining blackness is source energy and all possibility, with probability programs forming expression. The soul of the universe formed at the core of the shining blackness as another expression. It did not exist as self. There were many expressions of non-self soul as it expanded through superdivision. Non-self soul was a free-flowing probability program. Further separation programs allowed universal soul to have a wider experience as an entity. Universal entity became many things, including planets that support life and dimensions with experience. This was the beginning of the creation of self, and with more separation, and in particular with the use of forgetfulness programs, soul self further divided and became multidimensional. Antimedes says,
Soul self, at our level or dimension, is the illusion of separation.
And following this explanation, we can comprehend that. We understand the universe has many dimensions, energetic holograms, acting in such a way they appear solid. Some refer to these as vibrations, but the Andromedans are very keen to impress upon us that these are pulses of energy everywhere at once, on, off, very fast. The centre of the universe is everywhere, here and not here. It can be no other way because it has to comply with the paradox of origin, existing and not existing. Arcana programs can also be seen as information fields that give instructions to bursts of source energy. The universe expresses itself. Arcana programs also utilize source to form other energies within the dimensions. Quite simply, if you change the information of the Arcana programs, you change the expression. Antimedes once joked to say,
Movement is an illusion, and I can prove it. When I move my hands in front of you, your mental arcana programs stitch together the fact my fingers are being recreated in bursts, existing and not existing in a different place billions of times in one swish of the hand.
This information also enables us to understand how visible light is both a particle and a wave. It forms in bursts that emanate, like lots of little dots going forward. Have you ever wondered why fast alien spacecraft don't make sonic booms? Well, it's simple. They don't have heat shields. They change the information programs of the air, then there is no air to pass through. The air doesn't exist, just their craft and them. The air reforms behind them when the Earth Arcana programs return. Everything is a program and energy, just as origin. The nature of mind, soul, and the universe are intrinsically linked. Even humanoid intellect and feelings are part of an Arcana program. Humans might use the word universal consciousness, but that imbues it with a sense of consideration for right or wrong and love. It is a formula of grow and energy feedback. We look through our corrupted ideas of love and self, and that obscures our views. Antimedes has written much about how we use our data. You look at the left-hand figure, which represents us. You can see he is constrained by a data bag. That's because we process information through what we already know, whereas many benevolents allow information to present itself. The universe is the information program, and they are the universe. They are the information, and they are not detached from it. Their minds are more fluid, and their sense of self is pliable. With us, our unknown subconsciousness takes part and judges through feelings and prejudices. It contains thoughts such as, it's good to move away from pain, and fear will stop us from getting in danger, when in reality fear stops us from seeing what is there and we act out our fears, and they become our drivers and part of our motivation. Many benevolents have no fear, and unlike us, their unconscious programming is subject to review. You can begin to see how dissimilar we are, and how we would have difficulty in fully understanding them from our perspective. Let's look at some of our different perspectives. It's always good to overcome, to strive and succeed. No, we don't have anything to overcome. Why should we see problems in order to overcome them? That means we see problems when they don't exist. In any event, what is to succeed? Is that to move from a lower state of feeling or being? But when is enough enough? Because we repeat these patterns of duality from our subconscious like a dopamine fix. We do it all again, like a hamster in a wheel. Within duality, we have fears of not succeeding, and then we find fear of failure. If we build on the same foundations, we may have a different building, but it will have the same attributes. We're using the same data in the data bag. That's what's slowing us down. How tightly we hold to what we are. Can you say you are not you? That you are an experience? Multidimensional, having separation experiences elsewhere in the universe, in the same moment of now? It's rather difficult from our present idea of self. The work of enlightenment enables us to see what our unconscious thoughts do to us. Through our earthly experiences, we create energy. The energy we have created is ours. It is literally us in the universe. Our created energy formulates our timelines, and we experience our return energy as events. These show us who we are and what we think. We are creator, experiencing what we have created. If we don't like it, we have the choice to change or transmute our consciousness. In this way, we change our program of what it means to be our present self. By contrast, Andromedans have a sense of community self, and as individuals, they live within that. When I've experienced their worlds, I have a huge sense of being loved unconditionally, as if I was the most loved person there. A wonderful place to be. In one seminar, I was encouraged to give a human perspective on love. It was within a small lecture room of a multifunction complex. I spoke of how we trade love. If I do this for you, I will get love, or brownie points. You might do what I want you to do, or give me the love that I lack, because I don't know how to love myself unconditionally. Some of the other attendees were astounded to think that this was even considered to be a form of love. Andromedan is not constrained by time. He can see the next moment and what will happen. Because he entwines with non-self, he is at one with the information of his timeline. He sees in advance the reasons why the next events unfold. He knows what will unfold, and he says,
It is a sumptuous way to exist in the love of life.
I'm not saying we should live like that. We're a long way from that, just getting to grips with hindsight, trying to understand what we do after we've done it, to see the reasons why people do what they do to us and we to them. If we follow their lead, what will life allow us when we act with unconstrained love? Perhaps greater freedom from the constraints of self. Our fear of losing self-identity keeps us to our sense of self. It is one of the default programs in the subconscious that keeps us safe. The drivers in the mind give us our rationale for life. Feelings tell us how we should be. We try to show the world what we are, whilst we believe we are something different. However, if we do not hold tightly to self, it allows us a greater peacefulness. There is no striving to be something. You are what you are, and not to be judged. This is living closer to just is and the ways of Andromedan and Arcturians, though we are still bound by our drivers and duality.
Isness, the entirety of Source and Arcana programs combined with the dimensions and multidimensional soul. Isness, because it just is. It needs nothing more to complement itself. Just is, the state of being or existence. The experience and feel of the isness.
Arcturian or Larka doesn't move from one state of being to another. It seems unusual to us. We might look upon it as a muted experience. But we have to remember our desires in duality create our experiences. How can we judge what her life is like or how full it is? We still view from our past data and our sense of self. We are very constrained in our views. Here's some more examples. Compassion, a very human feeling. We feel someone suffering and we allow in that pain to have empathy for them. This is our way to understand their predicament. Olaka says she doesn't have compassion like us. Why should she change her state of being? A bliss that just is. Will her sadness help others? No, feeling someone else's pain doesn't ultimately help them. Our compassion is a touching moment in a duality of sympathy. It helps on some levels, and it does let them know we care. But Olaka says,
humans create their energy and ultimately their experiences.
She fully understands, and her form of caring is to show us not to create the same thing again. This may seem callous or aloof, but she explains it in such a way that it opens our eyes to our current way of being. In this way, we can accept we are responsible for our experiences. But what does responsibility mean when it's mixed in duality? Save us, or someone else put things right, were thoughts placed in the human collective consciousness by regressives many millennia ago. We accepted them, and in that way we gave away some of our power and control. But we choose and decide if self-responsibility is hard or easy. Perhaps we wish to see it as an achievement in adversity. If we do that, we will see adversity all around us, even when it doesn't exist. But adversity is judgment through fear, when love and understanding could have been used instead. At every turn, we are faced by who we are and what we think. When we look at our experience in the world, we can see it is a reflection of ourself. We live in a reality where everything is a mirror of itself, a living holographic program, a matrix and a construct. As in all realms like creator origin, what we believe we create, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, or it does until we see the reality of our world, that there is nothing other than a reflection of our thoughts and ourselves. There is no either or. There is no good that cannot exist without bad. A world of duality. There is, just is. Measurements and judgments can fade away, and in this way the mirror can show nothing. Literally no thing. Then we see all is an illusion of our own making. We are creators. Self can walk through the door of self hidden in plain sight. Letting go of the importance of self enables our vibration to change and helps with the Earth transition to fifth density. Ironically, there comes a point when you actually let go of letting go. Enlightenment might seem important, but that is still using valuation and judgment. When you love yourself without condition, it matters not, it just is. This is the way Olaka lives. She seeks not to better herself, Otherwise, she would not be good enough. She lives without our values. She does not become more enlightened. If she decides to adopt a different way of thinking as part of grow, she does so in a non-judgmental way. She is full and fully fulfilled. She is part of my soul experience, and I can, at times, join with her in her expansive love and wisdom, because my sense of self has changed. Everyone on Earth is a multidimensional soul, having many experiences in the moment of now. When self releases some of its grip, we can have interdimensional experiences and receive the fluid information of the universe. We have all had moments of rapture or bliss and felt the isness, but ours is a bumpy ride. We can begin to see big differences in the way other aspects of our soul process information and choose what state of being to exist in. Andromedan wishes to sum up.
Before I do so, I wish to say that Orloka and I are not removed from you, nor are we unreachable. We give public talks, question and answer sessions, as well as guided mental visualizations. We are happy to be interviewed, questioned or filmed. To reach us, use the Contact Us email on the robert-lomax website or his profile on Facebook. So, as to the vastness of your soul, there is more to the soul than our brief outline. Its capabilities, interactions, and creations in surreal dimensions. But we hope we have shown you what is beyond the program and perspective of self. We are all possibility, but something and nothing. A program of grow without limitation. Source energy that pulses into programs of non-self and self that has paradoxical interactions with duality. We are multidimensional and can engage with our other soul expressions in the moment of now. We create with energy, experience and feel our creations. We are the sum of all, but can experience separation programs. We are an energy and grow feedback system. We are also a product of the system. We are just is. We are Tuquola. To this description we can add love. However, as we pointed out earlier, there are differing ideas of what that means. Your soul at many levels nurtures and loves you. Because it is you, it nurtures itself. There are many benevolent beings and entities throughout the dimensions of the universe. Benevolence comes from choices made within the living program of grow. They create from and experience their benevolence. With love and unbounded generosity, we share our knowledge and wisdom. There is more if you wish. My friends, you are as much a creator as I am. The freedom of choice is yours. Create with energy and experience your creations.
Question.